I'm going to tell you about intellectual property laws. And this book contains the Trademarks Act 1999, that is Act 47 of 1999, as amended by Act 33 of 2021 with effect from 4/4/2021. Second is the Copyright Act of 1957, Act 14 of 1957, as amended by Act 33 of 2021 with effect from 4/4/2021. And then you have the Patents Act 1970, Act 39 of 1970, as amended by Act 33 of 2021, that is from 4/4/2021. So let's just go into it. So let me just tell you about what are the contents of the Trademarks Act of 1990. All right. So these are put into different chapters. Let's see if you can understand. So chapter 1, you have section 1 and 2. In section 1, you have short title, extent and commencement, and in the second section you have definitions and interpretation. So coming to chapter 2, it is the register and conditions for registration. So in this second chapter we have sections 3 to 17, and I'm going to just tell you what is where. Third is appointment of registrar and other officers. Then you have fourth section is power and registrar to withdraw or transfer cases, etc. Fifth section, trademarks, registry and offices thereof. Sixth is the register of trademarks. Seventh section is classification of goods and services. Eighth is publication of alphabetical index. Ninth is absolute grounds for refusal of registration. 10th is limitation as to color. 11th is relative grounds for refusal of registration. 12th section is registration in the case of honest, concurrent use, etc. 13 is prohibition of registration of names of chemical elements or international non-proprietary names. 14th section is use of names and representation of living persons or persons recently dead. 15th section is registration of parts of trademarks and of trademarks as a series. 16th section is registration of trademarks as associated trademarks, and 17th section is effect of registration of parts of a mark. Mark means trademarks. Now chapter 3 talks about the procedure for and duration of registration, and in this we have sections from 18 to 26. 18 is application for registration, 19 is withdrawal of acceptance, 20 is advertisement of application, 21 is opposition to registration, 22 section is correction and amendment, 23 is registration, 24 is jointly owned trademarks, 25 is duration, renewal, removal and restoration of registration, and 26 is effect of removal from register for failure to pay fee for renewal. Then we come to chapter 4. Now chapter 4 talks about effect of registration. So in this you have sections from sections 27 to 36. So 27 is no action for infringement of unregistered trademarks. 20 is right conferred by registration. And then we have here, just mark your pages and see. So this is the next page. 29, infringement of registered trademarks. 30 is limits on effects of registered trademark. I hope you can read along with me. 31 is registration to be prima facie evidence of validity. Section 32 is protection of registration on ground of disincentiveness in certain cases. 33 is effect of acquiescence. 34 is saving for vested interest. 35 is saving for use of name, address or description of goods and services. And 36 is saving for words used as names or description of an article or substance or service. So you can look at the page. Alright. So now we will I'm going to talk about chapter 4A. So there's a chapter, this is chapter 4, and then now we have chapter 4A. And in chapter 4A, it deals with special provisions relating to protection of trademarks through international registration under the Madrid Protocol. So in this you have 36A, 36B, 36C section, 36D, 36E, 36F and 36G. So it's all about 36 A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So let's just take up 36A, application of act in case of international registration under Madrid Protocol. 36B is definitions. 36C is trademarks registry to deal with international applications. 36D is international application originating from India. 36A is international registration when India has been designated. 36F, effects of international registrations. And 36G is duration and renewal of international registration. And now we come to chapter 5, that is assignment and transmission. So how many sections here? From 37 to 45. So power of 37 section deals with power of registered proprietor to assign and give receipts. 38 is assignability of transmissibility of registered trademarks. 39 is assignability and transmissibility of unregistered trademarks. 40 is restrictions on assignment or transmission where multiple exclusive rights would be created. 41 is restriction on assignment or transmission when exclusive rights would be created in different parts of India. 42 is conditions for assignment otherwise than in connection with the goodwill of a business. 43 is assignability and transmissibility of certification trademarks. 44 is assignability and transmissibility of associated trademarks. And 45 is registration of assignments and transmissions. Alright. Now we come to chapter 6. Use of trademarks and registered users. So in this 46 section deals with proposed use of trademarks by company to be formed, etc. 47 removal from registrar and imposition of limitations on ground of non-use. 48 is registered users. 49 is registration as registered user. And 50 is power of registrar for variation or cancellation of registration as registered user. And then you have 51, 52, 53, 54, 55 sections are also, 56 sections are also under chapter 6. So 51, let me just show you the content so that you can make a note of it. So on this page you have chapter 7, 8, 9 and 10. Okay, and the various sections. So I'm right now reading from chapter 6. I'm reading chapter 6 and I'm going to do page 51. Section 51. So section 51 deals with power of registrar to call for information relating to agreements in respect of registered users. 52 section rights of registered users to take proceedings against infringement. 53 is no right of permitted users to take proceeding against infringement. 54, registered user not to have right of assignment or transmission. 55, use of one of associated or substantially identical trademarks if equivalent to use of another. 56, use of trademark for export trade and use when forum of trade connection changes. Now we come to chapter 7, rectification and correction of the register. In this we have around 4 sections, 57, 58, 59 and 60. Power to cancel or vary registration or to rectify the registrar. 58 is correction of registrar. 59 is alteration of registered trademarks. 60 is adoption of entries in registrar to amend or substituted classification of goods or services. Now we come to chapter 8, collective marks, collective trademarks that is. And here we have sections 61 to 68. 61 talks about special provisions for collective marks. 62, collective marks not to be misleading as to character or significance. 63, application to be accompanied by regulations governing use of collective marks. 64, acceptance of application and regulations by registrar. 65, regulation to be open to inspection. 66, amendment of regulation. 67, infringement proceedings by registered proprietor of collective mark. And 68 is additional grounds for removal of registration of collective mark. Then we have chapter 9, certification trademarks. Alright, so in this we have sections 69 to 78. So 69 is certain provisions of this act are not applicable to certification trademarks. 70, registration of certification trademarks. 71, application for registration of certification trademarks. 72, consideration of application for registration by registrar. 73, section opposition to registration of certification trademarks. 74, filing of regulation governing use of a certification trademark. 75, infringement of certification trademarks. 76, acts not constituting infringement of certification trademarks. And 77, section cancellation or varying of registration of certification trademarks. And 78, rights conferred by registration by certification trademarks. Now we come to chapter 10, that is special provision for textile goods. It's written omitted within brackets. So chapter 10, it has section 79 to 82. So it's written omitted, I don't know why, but that's it. So textile goods omitted. Next section 80, restriction on registration of textile good omitted. 81, stamping of piece goods, cotton, yarn and thread omitted. 82, determination of character of textile goods by sampling omitted. So we have what is known as a chapter 10 here, as you can see, and here we have these written. Okay, now so we have now in this chapter 11 appeals, and chapter 10, 12 offences, penalties and procedures, which goes on to the next page. And then we have chapter 13 as miscellaneous. You can make a note of it. Okay, now so chapter 11 is appeals. So section 83, establishment of appellate board omitted. 84, composition of appellate board omitted. Then you have 85, qualifications for appointment as chairperson, vice chairperson or other members omitted. 86, term of office of chairperson, vice chairman and chairperson and other members omitted. Then 87, vice chairman, chairperson or senior most member to act as chairperson or discharge his functions in certain circumstances omitted. 88, salaries, allowances and other terms and conditions of service of chairperson, vice chairperson and other members omitted. 89, resignation and removal omitted. Then you have what is known as 89A, qualification, terms and condition of service of chairperson, vice chairperson and member omitted. 90, section staff of Appellate Board omitted. 91. Appeals to High Court. 92. Procedure and powers of Appellate Board omitted. 93. Bar of jurisdiction of courts etc. omitted. 94. Bar to appear before registrar. Then you have 95. Conditions as to making of interim orders omitted. 96. Power of chairperson to transfer cases from one bench to another omitted. 97. Procedure for application for rectification etc. before High Court. The 98 section is appearance of registrar in legal proceedings. 99. Costs of registrar in proceedings before Appellate Board omitted. And 100 is transfer of pending proceedings to Appellate Board omitted. Now we come to Chapter 12. That are offences, penalties and procedure. So 101. Meaning of applying trademarks and trade description. 102 section is falsifying and falsely applying trademarks. 103. Penalty for selling goods. 103. Penalty for applying false trademarks, trade descriptions etc. 104. Penalty for selling goods or providing services to which false trademark or false trade description is applied. 105 section enhanced penalty on second or subsequent conviction. Section 106 is penalty for removing piece goods etc. contrary to section 81. 107 penalty for falsely representing a trademark or registered. 108 penalty for improperly describing a place of business as connected with the trademark office. 109 penalty for falsification of entries in the register. Then you have section 110. Still we are doing with chapter 12. We have section from 101 to 121. So reading 110, no offense in certain cases. 111, forfeiture of goods. 112, exemption of certain persons employed in ordinary course of business. 113, procedure where invalidity of registration is pleaded by the accused. 114, offences by companies. 115, cognizance of certain offences and the powers of police officers for search and seizure. 116 section, evidence of origin of goods imported by sea. 117, costs of defence or prosecution. 180, limitation of prosecution. 119, information as to commission of offence. 120, punishment of abetment in India of acts done out of India. 121, instructions of central government as to permissible variation to be observed by criminal courts. Then you have chapter 13, which is miscellaneous. And talking about miscellaneous, how many sections are there? They are right up till 159. It starts from 122 section to 159. Okay. So 122, prosecution of action taken in good faith. 123, certain persons to be public servants. 124, stay of proceedings where the validity of registration of the trademark is questioned, etc. 125 section deals with the application for rectification of registrar to be registered to be made to High Court in certain cases. 126, implied warranty on sale of marked goods. 127, power of registrar. 128, exercise of discriminatory power by registrar. 129, evidence before registrar. 130, death of party to a proceeding. 131, extension of time. 132, abandonment. 133, preliminary advice by the registrar as to distinctiveness. 134, suit for infringement etc. to be instituted before district court. 135, relief in suits for infringement or for passing off. 136, registered users to be impleaded in certain proceedings. 137, evidence of entries in register etc. and things done by the registrar. 138, registrar and other officers not compellable to produce, register, etc. 139, section, power to require goods to show indication of origin. 140 section, power to require information of imported goods bearing false trademarks. 141 section, certificate of validity. 142, groundless threats of legal proceedings. 143, address for service. 144, trade usages, etc. to be taken into consideration. And 145 section is agents. Then 146 section, registered by an agent or representative without authority. 147, indexes. 148, document open to public inspection. 149, reports of registrar to be placed before Parliament. 150, fees and surcharge. 151, saving in respect of certain matters in Chapter 12. 152, declaration as to ownership of trademark not registrable under the Registration Act 1908. 153, government to be bound. 154, special provision relating to application for registration from citizens of convention countries. 155, provision as to reciprocity. 156, power of central government to remove difficulties. 157, power to make rules. 158, amendments. And 159, repeal and savings. And then you have the schedule and amendments. So that finishes off what we said, the Trademarks Act of 1999. So many chapters, from 1 to 12 chapters, and the 12 chapters miscellaneous. So first you should know what's there in a chapter, only then will you be able to understand it better.